Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Matthew Talbot.
You're listening to The Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
How's it going, Matthew?
It's going fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on.
Yep. Okay, so who is Matt and what are you doing?
Who is Matt? Matt is a Detroit resident and Southeast Michigan native. I am the team lead of the Talbot team. We are out of a small boutique brokerage called Rich Realty in downtown Plymouth. Thoroughly enjoy the residential real estate world. Our team is growing pretty fast with what I think is the right people for the right reasons. Enjoy selling homes in Southeast Michigan. We cover anything within about an hour to sometimes an hour and a half of Detroit in every direction. As far as, side projects, fun, family, that type of stuff, I do enjoy spending time with my parents, my sister, my girlfriend, Nicole, like going to concerts. It is COVID right now, so there's not lots of those. Camping trips, vacation to Central America. I have a side project called Moving Motown, which is a community involvement podcast and vlog and whatever you want to call it, blog, just to kind of showcase the community. So that's kind of my side project, fun project. That's the spiel.
Awesome. So what did you want to be an agent when you grew up, or what did you want to be when you were little?
As soon as I was born, my parents gave me a shirt that says "Born Realtor." No, growing up, I played a lot of competitive golf. Was really into golf as a kid. My dad owned a small par 3 golf course, more of a bar and grill than a golf course. But and my grandpa was an assistant pro at Meadowbrook Country Club in Northville back in the day in the 50s. Okay, so I was kind of born into a golf family, and so I did a lot of that growing up. But both my parents, owned small businesses, and so my intention was always to own my own business. My path kind of took me in a different direction with college. It was just the thing to do at the time. I don't know if it still is the thing to do, but that's a whole different debate. Went to college, went to business school, right? And throughout that journey, really fell in love with marketing. Okay, and I enjoyed the marketing aspect of the business world. And of course, then when you graduate, you go, hey, I'm looking for a marketing job. And guess what? They're like, well, we got a bunch of sales jobs. And so ended up working for a division of Xerox for a few years, but really wanted to do marketing, wanted to own my own business, and eventually got my real estate license on the side through a friend, Eric Wright. Shout out to Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Convinced me to get my real estate license, and within about a month or less, instantly fell in love with it. I think this is a business, you either love it or hate it. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I had a lot of opportunities in different directions through Xerox at the time, medical device sales, lots of different opportunities that I was exploring. And it was a no-brainer, took a huge leap of faith, quit my job and started in the real estate business, where I could really kind of hone in on that marketing aspect and, use some of my sales acumen and business acumen, and carries back over to the real estate world.
Awesome.
Long answer.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so you kind of talked about you were kind of doing the sales job at talk about making the leap just to real estate. Were you like really all in on real estate already and just kind of slowly transition over to it? Because you did say you made the leap. Would you have anything saved up, or what was your thought process there?
Credit card debt. So, like I said, Eric kind of convinced me to get my license. He's like, hey, I think it'd be a great fit for it. He was doing some really cool stuff from a social media standpoint. And I really did always enjoy the marketing. Like, I was always a decent student. Like, I could not show up and get like a 3.3, 3.5 right in school. But, when I got into my marketing courses, I really enjoyed it. And I kind of hit it full force since like 4 through the last 2 years of school and college and stuff like that. And so I really did like that. And I just didn't really find my path. And when Eric kind of showed me that the real estate business, I got my license, I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I want to do. I can scale a business and have it be 100% contingent on A, me being a good person, and B, focusing that those marketing aspects, right? And so I was working at Xerox at the time, I think for about 5 or 6 months. And to be honest with you, I was like pretty checked out there. I still was the top performer and sold lots of business and stuff like that. We had a good pipeline already built up, but I was checked out. I was like really into like, okay, I want to work this deal. I want to get business going. Like at my plan within probably like a couple of weeks was like, I'm going to do this. And after about, 6 months, I had maybe one sale lined up. It wasn't like I had a pipeline going. It was, I had a sale or two lined up. It was what I wanted to do with my life at the time. And I completely just kind of took that leap of faith. And I took some of the stuff that Eric taught me and some of my marketing background and kind of where he was going with the business. And I really ran with it through a social platform and a digital landscape. And really just kind of just took a leap of faith, like with credit card debt is really it. And just to try to run ads through social media way. I didn't do like the whole sphere of influence, word of mouth right off the bat. I recommend doing that to all you new agents out there. But that is not the path that I took. Looking back at it, I think a little bit of my ego got in the way of, I want to build a scalable business. I don't want to reach out to friends and family. I'm going to do it my way. Right. And luckily it worked because it could have crashed and burned pretty easily. But, really kind of ran with the social media perspective and generated every lead myself. I work with a small boutique brokerage, never been given a handoff lead or any business in my entire life, minus referrals from business we've done. So
awesome. Take us to your first transaction in real estate. How did that go? Was it a smooth one or how'd that play out?
Good question. It actually went really smooth.
Oh, good.
I had about the absolute, and I got to be careful. I had the worst agent on the other end of things that you could ever ask for. So the deal itself went pretty smooth due to my Xerox background and sales background. Negotiation was something I was used to. I got everything my client wanted. Everything went smooth overall, but the agent was kind of a jerk, to be honest with you, especially for like a newbie. Like I told him like, hey man, this is like throughout the process, like this is my first deal, blah, blah, blah. And he really kind of threw me under the bus a couple times. Nothing that affected my client, just wasn't exactly a class act along the way, in my opinion, but that's all right. There's a lot of colorful personalities in this business. And that's honestly what I love about it is, that was, if anything, a blessing in disguise because it puts a chip on my shoulder. I was super, super, super blessed to have great parents, great upbringing, right? And just was taught like always doing the right thing is the right thing. And so in a business with the landscape as competitive as ours and with as colorful personalities as you have as the residential real estate side of things and really real estate sales in general, I'm sure commercial is not much better. It really kind of gave me a chip on my shoulder, like, okay, like I can out negotiate any of these people. I know that I'm going to do right by my client. I know I'm going to do the right thing. I'm not going to be shady along the way. So it gave me motivation. Like I can't wait to just destroy people like that with goodness, right? Yep. And I don't mean about it like in a negative way, just like I'm going to kill people with kindness and I'm still going to win. For a lot of years, I called on some pretty big names throughout Southeast Michigan in the real estate world as the Xerox guy, right? And some of them are fantastic people and some of them didn't treat me that well as the Xerox guy. And now I'm excited to kind of go toe to toe with them with bigger listings or, in a competitive way. So first listing went super smooth, got my client everything we wanted. It was before the market was as crazy as it is today. We negotiated some concessions. He's still in the house, loves the house, talk to him all the time. The agent, on the other hand, really was, we'll call it motivational moving forward to be competitive in the Southeast Michigan landscape. So
that's a nice way to put it.
Where did you learn all your marketing from?
Yeah. So few places, like I mentioned, like Eric was, on social and Facebook, and he's like, hey, this is working. And, and so he definitely introduced me to the Facebook world, but I really do learn a lot in that area and kind of nerd out over it. Right. I'm a huge Gary Vee fan. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Gary Vee. Like,
yep.
When you could talk to a lot of human beings in the world and very few people have probably consumed as much content of his as I have. But I follow multiple podcasts. I'm a huge believer in continued education, right? So anytime I'm in the car longer than 10, 15 minutes, I have a podcast, book on tape, something I'm knocking out. I usually do at least 2 books a month on tape. I still digest tons of Gary Vee and other, influencers in the marketing landscape. And I learned by being what Gary would say is a practitioner, right? I tell people the Facebook platform alone, although you can show someone how to run an ad and stuff like that, but to really understand the Facebook platform all the way through and be a true practitioner, that's not like a college course. That's almost a college degree, just that one platform. It's insanity of how far you can take it and where that plugs in with different places. And so YouTube is huge, right? And just continually to learn these platforms, and they change so fast. Facebook today was completely different as it was 3 months ago, and light years different than 6 months ago, let
Mhm.
alone going back 4 years when I started on it, right? And
Yeah.
so if you want to be good in a digital landscape, you actually have to enjoy it. You have to nerd out over it, and you have to continually get better at it. Although you can outsource some of it, I think you really need to know what you're doing to truly execute on it and have a lot of success from it.
Yeah, awesome.
Tell
Uh,
us a little bit about is it called Moving Motown?
Moving Motown, yes.
Yeah, what is that? Tell everybody what that is.
So that initially started as Matt Talbot TV, like what ego-based marketing right there. I try not to no. So no. So what the idea with Moving Motown initially was, I wanted to be a realtor who showcased Southeast Michigan, because I think it's a great place to live, and there's tons of cool companies, there's tons of cool shows, there's great entrepreneurs like yourself, right, that are doing really cool things throughout Southeast Michigan. And so I wanted to showcase restaurants and entrepreneurship and businesses and people, and put it in a good light, right?
Yep.
In a world where there's like, you go on social media and there's so much black and white and blue versus red and this and that, and everyone's just trying to fight. I'd like to bring people together because, as a realtor, I think you realize people a lot more similar than you might think. People, when you really get to know them and have real conversations with them, the stuff you see online a lot of time is the 5% differences, when 95% of those human beings are a lot more similar than they think. So the idea was that of Matt Talbot TV at the time was to showcase the community and show the similarities there. It evolved into Moving Motown, just a name I came up with along the way, and now I really try to separate real estate from Moving Motown.
Yeah.
I don't say, hey, this is Matt. I'm a licensed realtor, and come buy a house for me. This is Moving Motown. It's more, this is its own cool project, and I'm really trying to separate the two.
Mhm.
Eventually, I'll probably turn it into an official nonprofit and stuff like that. But we do a podcast, we do blogs and vlogs, and really try to showcase the community. COVID has taken a step back. I needed to be more like yourself and kind of run with the digital way and Zoom and stuff like that. We have a couple episodes that I shot that haven't been released yet. So my goal is to plan on re-releasing those shortly and picking up where we left off, and really doing a lot more there. So I'm excited for that avenue.
Yeah,
awesome.
that's
Tell
awesome.
tell us about some of the last couple episodes or vlogs you guys did.
Yeah, I think the last one we dropped. So I have a couple recorded that I haven't put out yet. Like COVID hit, and it was like it was weird, right? Because you had COVID, you had a lot of things going on in the world last year, and I wanted to make sure to review the people we film with, that hey, this content is still okay to put out, because the world was just in a crazy place.
Yeah.
Right.
The last one we did was with a group called Enjoy Detroit. Um, David is the founder of Enjoy Detroit. It is his nonprofit side project. He also owns multiple businesses. His main business is a print shop in downtown Detroit. But David is extremely motivational for me, in the fact that he really talks the talk and walks the walk. Okay. This is the guy that when COVID hit, every single day went out and bought groceries and dropped them off to residents of Detroit, of the city, who needed it. And really consistently, not just sometimes, not just when it makes sense, consistently 365 days a year, really puts out as much as he can to help the community. Okay. He does drives, he does giveaways, he does as much as he possibly can to help the city of Detroit. Those were the last guys I had on. I really enjoyed them. I look forward to staying in touch with David and his team, and just the stuff that they're doing in the city of Detroit is unbelievable. Like, people comment on his Instagram, if you follow those guys, like David for mayor and all this stuff, because he really is living a selfless life. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate people like that. And I'd like to aspire to be like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you learned anything that you've stuck with you from anyone that you've interviewed so far on Moving Motown that has kind of crossed over into real estate?
Yeah, every single episode
Yeah.
I've learned a ton. The first episode we had was Harlow. He's a DJ producer.
Mhm.
He's really good, and he's really stuck to consistency and doing what you love, no matter what trials and tribulations life throws at him.
Yeah.
We've had multiple people. Community Push it's a skateboarding organization in downtown Detroit. They do a lot for local kids, and set up skate parks and kind of facilitate that in the right way. I've learned just a ton. Armand owns Jabs Gym in Detroit. He's like most dedicated, most committed is like his slogan. And this guy works like this guy's crazy. He's up every day at 4:30 in the morning. He does 10 classes a day at the gym and continually works at it. So
He
that's
gets up
that.
super early too,
Yeah, I
like
know. So
4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
yeah, so I at one point, this is a great opportunity. I wanted to give Brad a shout out because we have lots of vendors and partners and stuff that we work with through the years, and this guy really does it too. I mean, he is completely committed to his business. You can tell it's a complete passion for him, and he does all the right things in the right ways. The fact that this podcast is even happening just shows he's trying everything he can to generate the business for him and his people, and he's got a fantastic product to serve. So it's yeah, we as an example, we'd
Awesome.
love to have you on the podcast one day on our podcast to switch gears a little bit, but
Yeah.
it really doesn't go unnoticed, man. It really doesn't. And I know that you guys are just exploding and it's for the right reasons. And I know that you have good team and good people on board, which is the whole thing. So
Awesome. Hey, yeah, I'll join you guys.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yep.
So, kind of moving forward with real estate, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
5 years. Okay. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot on this lately. I right now I'm really kind of like pot committed to growing my team. And when I mean growing, I mean slowly adding the right people and the right pieces of the puzzle.
Yep.
We don't want to just recruit agents to recruit agents. We get agents all the time that reach out to us and stuff like that. And it's all about having the right fit for the right role. I'm really looking at how I look at the structure of my team. Okay. And I'm really looking at personality traits and who fits what role for what reason. And
Yep.
my goal is to make sure that we put people in the right place and they do jobs in which that they like to do. Okay. This
Mhm.
isn't like I have the secret sauce. I'm gonna teach you the secret sauce and you're gonna be a millionaire, right? That's not the idea. I want to put people in the right position and I really want to grow to the point where my team, both professionally and personally, we set real goals and help them attain those goals, whether it's inside of real estate or outside of real estate, and making sure that we develop a really cool brand with the right people for the right reasons. So that's my biggest goal. We of course have strategic goals as far as like deals and revenue and stuff like that we want to hit, but more importantly, getting the right people on the bus is what I call it. It's a book, Good to Great. It's about building great companies, and I really want to get the right people on the bus, and the rest of this stuff will figure itself out. So that's really my
Yeah.
5-year plan.
Is there one question that you ask people who are trying to join your team that you like the one question that you ask that really gets you to know them or see if they're a good fit?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good question. I don't know if I have one in particular. I think
Yeah.
there's always one moment in like an interview or during a
Yep.
conversation where either I know or I don't know.
Yep.
Like I can, and again, I don't think it's perfect because I think, actually going back to Gary Vee's material, he talks about this a lot. It's really hard to be a good hirer, right? Because anyone could dress up nice and say the right things in an interview. Anyone can get on camera for 10 minutes and not screw up, right? Anyone can do that. It's a whole different thing to actually be passionate about what you do. It's a whole different thing to really talk the talk, right? So, but I've been super blessed. So my first hire is Numish Patel. He's been the absolute best business decision I've ever made in my entire life. We recruited him to come on board. He's been an absolute rock star and game changer for me, for my business. And he really, if I could have 100 of him, I don't care. He could make it happen because that's just who he is. But
Yeah.
I don't think there's a specific question. It's more like the motivation and how people talk about themselves or others is kind of my key pillars to our team anyway, right? Is it
Mhm.
more about other people or is it more about yourself? Is it more about ways you were helping people or ways that you're helping yourself? Is it more about your just income potential or is it, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of those conversations that just for me, it's like, does this seem to be a good fit or not?
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, we've done a little bit of hiring, but it's not something I've done like strategically for years and years and years. That was actually my question for you guys is where are you at as far as you're in like every state now or what? Like how's that?
Almost, yeah.
Let's see if I can name them all.
Yeah.
We have we'll start on the west side of the state, or west side of the country.
Yeah.
I think we
My side
got
of the country.
Seattle. We're working on Portland. We have Seattle, LA, Phoenix, Denver, Houston,
Wow.
Dallas. What's the one in the middle? St. Louis. A lot of Wisconsin, no, not all of it yet, but
Mhm.
Chicago, Michigan, of course,
Yep.
Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, New York City now.
Yep.
Um,
Mhm.
let's see, Pittsburgh,
Yeah, Florida.
Florida.
Yep.
Yep, a lot of Florida now.
Yeah.
Actually, that's probably our Wisconsin, and then Florida. All I'd say Tampa, Orlando, Miami,
Mhm. We're
Atlanta.
all over.
Yeah, I think we have almost got all of them. I can
Yeah.
barely keep track of
I
them
think
all.
you counted I think you got
Did
them
you
all.
did you say Hawaii?
Oh, we're working on
Oh, yeah,
Hawaii.
we're
That
working on
one's
Hawaii.
Oh,
actually
recent. I tagged one of our clients moved to Hawaii recently, and I tagged her. I said, "Hey, you know anyone out there?"
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we just posted that one. We're like, "Ooh,"
Mhm.
because we talked about doing it like we've had this plan for like 2 years now, and we were gonna do it all last year, and then we just, COVID happened, so we weren't able to hire as much as we wanted to. But we are able to. We have this Google Maps, custom maps that we have. Like, this is where we should be at this year. This is where we should be at this year. This is where we should be at this year, and
Yes.
Hawaii's on there. And we're like, and this year we're like, you know what? We're
Let's
going.
just do
We're all
it.
of a sudden we're
Yeah.
like last
Yep.
week we're like, you
Mhm.
know what? No time better than now. Let's go.
Yep. If we're gonna do it, let's
Think
do
how
it.
cool those pictures will be.
I
I
know.
know,
You're
right?
gonna.
You see our
It's like
ones from LA?
yeah.
I
I
was
mean,
like,
it's like LA, Hawaii, like some of the most fire real estate in the planet, right? It
I
just,
Yeah.
know. It's like crazy. I mean, all of a sudden you're like,
I mean,
because
we're in Colorado too. We forgot to mention that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
Colorado too.
Yeah.
Um, but you know how we're used to like Michigan, and all of a sudden we like see Florida and we see LA,
yeah,
Yeah.
we see everywhere else,
So
and
different.
we're like, these are awesome, and it's
Yeah.
like just a standard house.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
everyone
so
who lives there is probably like, "This is normal."
Nemish today was we did a referral in Texas recently, I think Austin or something. I don't
Mhm.
even remember where, but we did a referral, and he's like, this is what they're looking at for new construction in wherever, like a small town outside of Austin, I want to say. And it was like $400,000 price point, like brand new build. Like here would be
Yep.
like it would be a $900,000 house probably. I'm just like, it's like such a different. It's interesting to
Yeah.
see how that plays out.
Mhm.
But good for you. Yeah, that's impressive. That's a lot to take on, and but at the same time, when you have good foundation, which I think that you
Yep.
guys do, and I've been around for a couple years now and watched from afar, right? Where I'm
Oh yeah.
watching what you're doing, and when you have good foundation, it's a very scalable thing, right?
Yep.
And so when you get the right people, when you hire for the right reasons, when you have a good repeatable product, what you do, which is a
Oh
huge
yeah.
reason why we use you guys, it's quick turnaround. They're fantastic. I think the best in the business, right? When it comes to quality. So you're checking all the boxes and it's a scalable thing. So
Yep.
while I'm sure there's a lot of growing pains with that,
Oh yeah.
good for you. You should be very proud because that's I know that's not easy to just all of a sudden be literally all over the
Oh yeah.
freaking.
And that hiring process, actually, since you were talking about the hiring one, I think we probably hired like or talked to like 550 people now in the last probably like 5 weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's been so we got the hiring. We figured out what works and we figured out what doesn't work. Of course, we're gonna time will tell which ones we hired were good.
So let
Yeah.
me flip your question on you. Like what worked? What is like one of the things that works, and what should I look out for moving forward here? This is a
Yeah.
great
So
conversation.
like our favorite, like the question that gets the most for us, like that tells the most for somebody,
Yeah, the question we get the most value from.
yeah, is we ask, teach us something in 60 seconds or less. And you don't give
Okay.
them any outline. You don't give them
Yeah.
anything. And
Mhm.
Yes.
what happens is that person's you're gonna tell if that person will get stressed out or not.
Yes.
You'll also tell if they are somebody that thinks outside the box or somebody that's gonna wanna be inside the box, because if they're inside the box, they're gonna ask you, "Well, what's all the requirements? Is it something you need to know? Is it
Right.
something,
Mhm.
Right.
something you don't know? What is it?" So
Yeah.
that right there, like, you'll once you ask somebody that, you'll see right away if that, because if they just, like you'll see, like, all of a sudden someone will be like they'll think for, like, 59 seconds, and then they'll try to
Like
teach you something
1
in 1
second.
second.
Yep.
And then the other one over there will be all stressed out, be like, you see him freaking out there. I gotta find something. I gotta find something. I gotta find something. Then you're like, well, that's
Yeah.
not a right person. But that right there, that
Yeah.
one
See how they
question.
handle under
Mm,
pressure.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, for sure. I mean, which is huge, especially like in your world, if you're doing a lot of residential stuff, right? It's just like
mhm.
things happen on shoots. It's always
Oh yeah.
some, yeah, you got
And
to be
same
able
with yours. Like if you're
Yeah.
hiring an agent and you can see them getting stressed out and you see if they ask you too many questions during that question, if they're gonna
yeah,
ask you that many questions, you're like, I don't know, do I want to hire you or not? Of course, like yours is like you're a little different model for that. But if it, like an assistant or something like that, that would be more something that would
Mhm.
yeah. No, I'm
good
gonna
for
I'm
that.
gonna roll with that one. I like that. I like yeah. One of
You
my
have to
first
let us know.
when I was at Xerox, my VP at the time, he like really put me on the spot, and like it was just a test. But he was like, the interview went fantastic, like super nice guy, things were going good. Then all of a sudden, he just was a complete asshole, just to be like as rude as he possibly could,
Oh, just to see?
to see how I'd respond. And he's like, because I was like, it was my first job out of school. And he's like, well, Matt, you're saying all the right things, but do you really think you have what it takes? And blah, blah, blah. Like, you're just out of school. You don't know anything yet, but like, just
Oh, man.
really just laid it on. And it was like blew my hair back, you know? And then I like took 1 second, like gathered myself. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, this is a layup. I got it. You know what I mean? Like, and I I flipped it luckily, or else I might not even be where I'm at today, because I probably wouldn't have got that job. But it's interesting to put people on the spot like that to see how they respond. And I think you see like the vulnerability is a good thing. I think it's important for people to be vulnerable for
Yeah.
sure, and kind of be able to put themselves out there. If I can talk today, to be able to put themselves out there and be able to be themselves, right?
Yep.
And like you said, you don't want people freaking out by any means, but you also want them to give you that answer that they give you could be a very it's not something you can plan for. It's not a strategy thing. It's like, I have this call, this question or call in my head that I'm going to be able to respond this way. You got to think on your feet, and you'll see who they really are. So
Yep,
Yep.
for sure. What is,
cool.
what's, like, one of the books that you got the most value from, that you could recommend to somebody?
Yeah, I gotta tread lightly here. So I recently read a book, and this is so this book I really recommend, but not in the business perspective. I just recently read Sapiens, which like really just flipped my whole head around on like the world and human beings and stuff. Great book. That's the first one that comes to mind. Um, Start with Why is one of my favorite marketing books. So when it comes to business, Start with Why is like a huge one. Um, that one really changed my perspective on market. It didn't really change my perspective. It like just made like, when you read a good book, it makes sense. You're like, this
Yep,
is the answer, right?
Yep.
And I think like they talk about, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? And
yep,
so like, to me, and it's not necessarily about selling, if you're doing the thing for the right reason, right, then people are attracted to that. Just like you guys, right? You're getting up every day at 4 a.m. because you love what you do. You're into photography, and you built a scalable business around something that you like to do,
yep,
right? That's awesome. Like, that's how everyone should think. If everyone thought that way, instead of, hey, how can I make the most money, or this is the easiest thing, or this is the opportunity I have, if everyone thought like, hey, what do I like to do? Or it's not always a perfect science, right? Not everyone can be
yep,
LeBron James that likes to play basketball, but if you find passions within your industry or what you're doing, and you focus on that portion, you just live a whole different lifestyle. It's a whole different world. It doesn't feel like work. There's, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of grind in the real estate world for sure, but
Yeah.
80-90% of it, I really do enjoy. And so it's a matter of finding right people to fit within from there. But so yeah, Start with Why is a big one. You put me on the spot. Hold on, let me real quick. Let me just, since we're here, I'll do recent ones.
Do you do
Uh,
audiobooks a lot? I know you said when you're in the car,
yeah,
you like to do you
I'm
read
pulling up my
more or
my recent my
audio?
recent ones for funsies.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you gotta love the Rich Dad Poor Dad Millionaire Next Door. Those are like back in the day, like self motivation stuff that's still in there from way
yep,
back. Um, I really like Never Split the Difference is a great
yep,
like negotiation book. I like that a lot. It sounds so cheesy, but I really liked Matthew McConaughey's new book, Green Lights. It was very
yeah,
educational, and I think like I have a lot in common with him after reading that. The Greatest Salesman in the World is another recent one that I read. Super short, easy read, but those are all like business sales.
Mhm.
Yeah. There-
yep.
there's
Awesome.
some others out there. I think about Good to Great was a good business book that I read. Of course, on all the millionaire real estate agent books and stuff like that. There's little nuggets in all of them for sure.
Yep, for sure. Okay, last question. What is, let's say you had to start all over today and you had $1,000 in your pocket. What would you do in your first month?
I had to start all over with $1,000 in my pocket. I would actually do it differently. So when I started, I would have put it all into Facebook. I would have run social media campaigns on Facebook. Today, I would have looked at my sphere of influence, and I would have figured out anywhere from 5 to 100 gifts for close clients to let them know that close clients and sphere of influence and friends and family, let them know that I'm in real estate and why, and that I'm thinking about them. And I would start to develop those relationships as best as possible.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody before we go?
No, I think it's good. I'm like, again, I really, thanks for having me. I appreciate that. But I'm really proud and impressed to associate myself with your guys' brand. You're exploding. If honestly, if you ever need a referral, if you ever need anything at all from me, let me know across the country. I mean, I really think that it's a scalable thing. I think that you have a great team. Everyone that I've worked with have been really positive to be around and stuff like that. So continue to hone in on that, continue to hire the right people and continue to work hard. And I can't wait to see where you guys take your business and the podcast and the show. I hope you guys get a freaking million followers this month for sure.
So wheat. Well, thanks. Well, how can people get a hold of you and where can they follow you?
Yep. Listingmi.com is the website. Matthew Talbot Realtor on Facebook. The Talbot team on Instagram. Those are kind of the go-to ones. And Moving Motown. If you're in Detroit, Metro Detroit, if you just want to follow what's going on, follow the Moving Motown stuff. It's at Moving Motown everywhere. That's my side project, but it really is a passion. And if you want to be featured on that show, if anyone hears this that thinks they would be a good fit, give me a holler and we're happy to get that set up.
Sweet. Sounds good. Thanks for being on.
Hey, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Are these working?
All right.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. I think that worked. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do we got to point at? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
It might be there.
it might be right there too.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Find it. It's red.
Yeah. And it's
Red.
blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess.
I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah. I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review if they're listening on Apple. That'd be cool.
5 stars,
review.
guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take
But-
4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
No, I don't think this is working.
This is not working.